Hey guys, what is up? Mike here. Thanks for tuning in to another video. So in this video, I want to talk about whether or not there are any UI, UX design trends that we as product designers, as UI, UX designers should be paying attention to in 2020. Right off the bat, I'm going to say I don't believe there are any major trends. Like when I think of trends, I think of, 10 plus years ago when we were asking, should we design for the mobile device? And, that was a real trend. And now that everything is on mobile, that's no more a trend, that's become the standard. So when I think of trends like that, I don't know of any major trends that has emerged that we should be turning our attention to in 2020. I think a lot of things have been brewing. Many different things have been brewing over the past several years that continue to grow, that we will always be aware of, but there's not this one major thing that I think stands out. Like there are several major technologies like, AI and machine learning have been going on for several years now. Virtual reality is growing, but outside of my son putting on his Quest gaming system, we don't see virtual reality in our day-to-day applications as of right now. Also with the use of voice outside of Alexa, Google, Siri, and things like that, there's really, yeah, voice is there throughout anytime you have a search capability, but I don't see it as a major turning point that we should be turning our attention to right now. Yes, it's growing and it's brewing, and those are a few of many things that is going to continue to grow, that we need to pay attention to technology wise, but nothing really major. From my standpoint personally, there are three things I think that we should pay attention to in 2020 and beyond. One is just the growing trends of visual UI design that we see. And I've talked about this before, and we've seen it for the past few years. Illustrations, motion animation, white space, rounded corners, soft drop shadows, large typography, and things like that. But many of those visual design elements you'll see on a landing page, on the marketing side of things. You don't really see them transfer into, well, you see some of them, a lot of them do transfer into the guts of an application, but for the most part, illustration is always seen on the forefront of the marketing side of things. But when it comes to the visual design side of things, and when we see these growing trends on Dribbble and Pinterest, us as product designers, we always have to continue to make sure that our work is in unison with what's going on. We don't ever want to be behind the 8 ball. We don't want to have visual UI design elements that are like 5-10 years old when things are moving in a different direction. So us as product designers, we always have to continue to keep an eye out on how product designers are moving and how things are growing from that standpoint. So that's one. Two, I think within the workplace, we as product designers have to continue to have the conversation with other groups and educate one another and learn from one another. You have the UX design group, you have the product, you have the engineering group, you have product, you have marketing, you have sales. I think as professionals, we have to come together around a lunch table and continue to learn from one another, because UI, UX, and product design is so confusing. The engineering side of things don't know what's going on, like who you are and what you do, what's a UX researcher, and what's the difference between you and a graphic designer, and things like that. And so we have to just continue to have that conversation and talk to them and teach them about what we do and how we go about doing things, and vice versa. The engineering side of things is the same way. They're growing and we have to learn from them. What are you, a back-end? Are you a full stack developer? Are you this? Are you that? And how you do things, and come together as a group. Same with a product person, business analyst or a salesperson, like come together with them and have that conversation, just kind of learn from one another and teach all of us and educate, one another about how we do things, who we are, what we do, and how we work together to collectively, come together to build great products. So call it communicating, having lunch together, just learning from one another, I think is a big thing. And thirdly, I think, as UX design methods will continue to change as we go forth. Like for example, just one example, traditional UX design methods continue to evolve. Like bringing someone in and having them, use your applications. You sit behind a two-way mirror and watch how they use and interact with your devices. I think those things are changing. I think a lot of that stuff can be done remotely now. I think you can monitor and view and interview and monitor and see people in their own environment interact with applications rather than bringing people in. I think those things are changing. And other UX design methods and ways of learning about how to better design for this particular user base, I think things are consistently changing. And that's something that we have to be aware of throughout 2020 and beyond, that we have to continue to not just stick to, hey, this is the old way of doing things, but hey, there's probably other ways to gather data, gather information, monitor users, understand their pain points, and gather that data so that we can bring that to the table and design new features and design better experiences for them. There's going to be many ways to do those things. You have tools like Validately, user testing and things like that. And there's always emerging technology that's coming out that helps kind of grow those areas. And fourth, I would say it goes along with the conversation piece, is coming together amongst different groups and learning and educating one another on the different processes and how we go about doing things, and come together to talk about how we might be able to change things and become more efficient collectively. Because you have the engineering, the product side of things that, obviously using the Agile Scrum process method. You have UX still trying to do their thing. Sometimes they don't really mesh well and they don't work well together. I think that needs to come together and go, hey, this is how we would like to do things. This is how we would like to do things. How can we get together to make things more efficiently? And I think that can strum up down the road. Maybe, I don't know, you have different ways of doing things. You have sprint design cycles, but I don't think that's 100% completely sold on every single company, every single product, development organization. But I think the more and more you come together, I think the more we can kind of just communicate together and work together and build better processes as we go forward. But those are the things that I think about through 2020, things that I'm going to be focusing on. And if you have anything that I missed, you think there's anything that made you stand out, hit me up in the comments below. I think any comments, any type of information you post here be helpful for anybody that comes along and watches this video. I think the conversation is interesting. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for supporting the channel. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to be notified anytime I produce a new video. Thanks for watching. Happy Friday, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.